Welcome everyone to Creating Young Minds Undiscovered League Recap, Week 17. Also, we will be talking about the Lewisville Leopards. They had their first two games of their season, a part of the TBL. You can see that logo right behind me there. So we had 4 games. We got quite a bit to get to. Excited to be on tonight. Got a little bit of a late start, but for those of you that are watching afterwards, the late start doesn't really matter because you would be watching it whenever it goes up. So, really excited to be covering the Lewisville Leopards. Like I said, a part of the TBL, which is the basketball league, a high-powered league. That's the motto of the league is a different league, and they have teams all over the country. The third ranked league when it comes to basketball, and really, I think a lot of great basketball players and a lot of great guys out here playing. And just like what I've been talking about with the Undiscovered League, a lot of these guys play in both for the Lewisville Leopards, and they play in the Undiscovered League, which really gets them, a lot of opportunity to be able to play and have experience. But the main focus of Creating Young Minds is to give these a lot of young gentlemen and kids, an opportunity to play professional basketball or to play against professional basketball players. So, again, really excited to cover this league and to cover these players. Let's get into our recap. Also, we have highlights on tonight as well. So we have Week 17 of the Creating Young Minds Undiscovered League, which you can see behind me. Then also we have the Lewisville Leopards. So the Creating Young Minds, you're able to watch those games at creatingyoungminds.uscreen.io. That's where you'll be able to find and watch the Undiscovered games. Now, if you want to watch the Lewisville Leopard games, those particular games you will have to watch on the TBL website. So if you type in the basketball league or if you Google TBL, you will be able to find that information. And as you can see with the link scrolling down below. So let's get into the first game of the Undiscovered League. It was the Undiscovered team versus the Pros. The Pros is highlighted by CJ Carter, a former NBA player, played for the New York Knicks. Also, he played for the Texas Legends, for those that are in Texas. But the Pros had some new players coming in this week. John Joseph III, Stanley Williams, Brandon Brooks, Ramon Jenkins, and Draylon Triplett were some of the new players that came on for the Pros. But really getting the kind of game kicked off and started early. Undiscovered was off to a fast start like they always are. Every single game, just one of those teams that continue to run up and down the floor, very physical with their play, and playing defense. And they play the entire court. They don't pick and choose when they play defense. They play defense and they play tough up and down the floor, game in, game out. And that's what's I'm hoping is going to translate to this TBL season with the Lewisville Leopards. That's what I'm hoping will transfer, and that they'll be able to dominate in the TBL as well. So we'll see. We'll get into those two games. Shemaine Thomas, shout out to Shemaine Thomas with some big shots early in the game. CJ Carter to Draylon Triplett. Like I mentioned, Draylon Triplett, a new player. He played with the Lithgow Lasers in Australia, also the Southwest Slammers in Australia, and he played in Singapore. So a lot of these guys really they truly have experience all over the world playing basketball. And that's what really makes this exciting, because you have young guys that are 18, 19, 20 years old that may not have pro experience, but they're playing with these the top talent of a lot of these guys that have played professional. And I think that really gives them the experience that they need to hopefully make it to the next level. That's what That's what I'm hoping for, and I'm sure that's what, a lot of their coaches and people in the organization are hoping for, is that they really get the opportunity to make it in the pros. And that's what makes this league fun to watch. So the intensity was picking up early in the first. Undiscovered was up by 2 at the end of the first. Ramon Jenkins, I was saying with the stroke, man, he had some nice threes. CJ Carter being CJ, just getting buckets as he always does. Really showing how, physical and dominant that he plays. Christian Davis, wanted to give him a shout out, a part of the pros, doing his thing. The pros were leading 38-32 at the half. CJ and Tremaine going back and forth on a couple of buckets. That was fun to watch. It's always good to see that back and forth type of game and, guys going at each other. It was 55-40 at the end of the third. CJ to Jonathan Joseph, which I'll have some highlights from Jonathan Joseph and from CJ Carter. CJ dropping dimes, doing his thing, and CJ with an alley-oop to finish the game. The pros end up winning this game 69-57. The Undiscovered team has not lost a game in this Undiscovered league. So a little interesting to see, them losing a game. Now, they didn't have some of the kind of mainstay players that they normally have. Michael Lenore, which plays for the Lewisville Leopards. Jarrett, Jetpack Jay Henderson. Normally he's on the floor, but he wasn't on the floor. So it was a little bit of a different team. But again, really giving these guys experience. I think that's the biggest part about this league, is giving these guys experience to be able to play and give them an opportunity to play against professional players. So that's always exciting to see. So let's we got a couple of highlights here to get to from this first game. This first one here is by none other than CJ Carter. Let's get right to it. Got one of the sweetest jumpers, especially that fadeaway jumper. Once you perfect that, which I would say that he has, you're pretty much unstoppable to score because you're fading away. The only thing the person can do is put their hands up. This next one here is by John Joseph III. Shout out to him with a highlight.
Kangar soul.
A nice and one. You can hear how excited he was on that play. And then this next one here is by Ramon Jenkins for the pros. Another good play here. The pros, they had it this game. There's just no doubt about it. They had the upper hand.
Are y'all jumping everything?
And you heard the person taping. He said, "Y'all jumping and everything." The comments by the guys playing or the guys taping is always fun. So let's get to the stat sheet for the first game, Undiscovered versus the pros. The leading scorer, he was also the captain for the Undiscovered team, Tremaine Thomas with 27. He played in Albania. The second leading scorer was Kevin Big Shot Booz, one of my favorite players in this league. He played well. The top in assist, you had Kevin Booz and Preston Ragsdale doing their thing. The top in rebounds was Abdunasser Robbie, a.k.a. Biggie. He had 6 rebounds on the game. But those are your leading scorers. John Joseph III had 21 points for the pros. And then CJ Carter had 19. Just continuing to do his thing whenever he's on the floor. Raymond Jenkins, I mentioned his name. He had 9 on the day. So that was the first game. Once again, we're talking about the Creating Young Minds Undiscovered League. The link right down below, creatingyoungminds.uscreen.io. If you want to learn about Creating Young Minds, go to creatingyoungminds.org. You will find the information about the team, about the organization, which I think it is a great organization, no doubt about it. Those of you watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, click that notification bell. Also support BS3 Radio with the Cash App, $ BS3 Radio. It would be greatly appreciated if you could do that. Shout out to Kingston Cole in the building over on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe. All right, so let's get into game 2, which was Undiscovered versus the Texas Bruins. Texas Bruins, fairly new team in the Undiscovered League, but they are doing their thing. And they came out and they fought. They came out and they fought in this game. This game was on Sunday, so we kind of had a double Saturday and Sunday games, which are the lead-in games to the Lewisville Leopards game, which again is a part of the TBL. So man, they have, when I say they love basketball, this organization truly loves basketball, and they will have multiple games on at multiple times because they really, I think they love basketball, and they just want to get their players ready to go and ready to go for, the Lewisville Leopards season. So it's when I tell you that they're serious about basketball, they are truly serious about basketball. It is not a joke. So going into the second game, I had my eye on Alan Smith. Really wanted to see what he was going to do, going into this second game. Also, Jesse Williams, man, was playing physical early, playing for the Undiscovered team. Also, he does the commentating for the Lewisville Leopards. So whenever you tune in and watch that game on the TBL website, that is fun to watch, man. And like I said, a lot of these guys do double duty. Some of them do commentating, and then they play their games afterwards. Some of them are running the stat sheet. I mean, it's a true organization that's really looking to build up young men, like it says. All right, so second game, Kevin Booz with a nice 3. Biggie out of Nasser, like I mentioned, 7-foot center, 7'8" wingspan, playing big down low. He had a very nice and physical dunk. It was 23-13, Undiscovered up by 1. Jesse Williams was just, all I wrote down was he was just getting it. And I will have a highlight from him. Also, I'll have a Tremaine Thomas highlight coming up, so stay tuned for that. Brandon McElvey playing defense and hitting shots. The Bruins was just having a hard time scoring. They just were flat out having a hard time scoring. It was 31-17 at the half, Undiscovered leading. Alan Smith playing physical on both ends. Jesse was just feeling it. He was feeling it on Sunday. Preston Ragsdale hitting a couple threes, doing his thing. Ramon Tuck with a nice drive to the hole. It was 48-33 at the end of the third. Excuse me. And this is a game where it's a running clock. It's 10 minutes per quarter. And I was starting to, my question going into the fourth quarter was who was going to take it home in the fourth. Jesse Williams with a monster dunk. Brandon McElvey with an and 1. Undiscovered pulls away and gets the W. So they lose on Saturday, but they win on Sunday. So that's 1-1 for the weekend. That's not a bad look at all. Let's get to some other highlights. Kevin Big Shot Booz doing what he does best. From way downtown as well. with a nice jumper. Preston Ragsdale, the young kid, I believe he's 18 or 19. Like I said, out here playing with grown men. He's a part of the Lewisville Leopards as well. Let's get to this highlight.
Cussy! Yeah.
With a nice corner three. I always like to hear the guys that are taping the highlights. I love to hear their comments. Jesse Williams, I believe this is Jesse Williams with a nice dunk. With a nice dunk right down the middle. A nice pass as well. Jesse Williams, like I said, doing double duty, did the commentating for the Lewisville Leopards games. And then here goes Tremaine Thomas. With a deep three from way downtown. Like I mentioned, he played in Albania. He played pro ball overseas. So Undiscovered team wins 68-45 over the Texas Bruins. Once again, like I mentioned, we're talking about Undiscovered League, Creating Young Minds, Week 17. Jesse Williams dropping 26, clearly the leading scorer. He was 4 for 7 from the free throw line, 11 for 17 from the field. Kevin Big Shot Booze with 8 points. Tremaine Thomas with 7. Everyone scored except Michael Williams. He was a did not play, but everyone on the Undiscovered team scored. Everybody scored. So that's a good day. Texas Bruins, the leading scorer was Cameron Huntsman. He had 13. Richard Turner with 10. And Alan Smith, who was the captain, with 10. I was very interested to see what he was going to do going into this game. So that was the Undiscovered League. So that was those two games. Now we're going to switch gears just a little bit to the Lewisville Leopards. So let me go break it down here, just explain. The Creating Young Minds is an organization. It's a nonprofit organization, but they have a pro basketball team that's associated with the organization. That is the Lewisville Leopards. As you can see this logo behind me, the TBL, it's called the Basketball League. You can go to that website. I thought I had it here on my list, but it's thebasketballleague.net. You're able to watch all of the games. They have a package that you can pay for, and with that package, you get access to all of the games. And the Lewisville Leopards, that's the team that I'm covering. They're in Lewisville, Texas, which is about 30 minutes outside of Dallas. Shout out to my man, Taryn Rodriguez. Thank you for tuning in. Also, those of you that are watching right now, tune in at the top of the hour. Me and the other guys of the forecast will be talking about Concrete Cowboy, which is a movie starring Idris Elba and Caleb McCullough. That's a new movie on Netflix, so stay tuned for that at the top of the hour. So let's get into the Lewisville Leopards game. First off, the Lewisville Leopards playing the Houston Push. This was the first game of the season. They played it on April the 10th. Houston Push is owned by none other than Steve Francis, a.k.a. the franchise, played for the Houston Rockets, played at Maryland. Always great to see men do things outside of when they retire. So, owning a team, being a real estate mogul, having businesses, I think it's awesome. So, first game of the season, my first question was, how has playing in the Undiscovered League helped these players? And I think it's definitely helped them run and gun, be physical up and down the floor. Now, I think, right out the gate, there is going to be some getting used to when you're playing other top competition. But I think in these first two games, they played well. I want to break them down. First up, Austin Weir And if I said that wrong, I do apologize. But he had a nice dunk to kick it off. Austin is a very, very good player. Very good player. I just wanted to check in. Keep doing your thing, fam. Thank you for tuning in, my man. That's family right there. Thank you for tuning in. It was good to, see, as I've seen Austin, I've seen him around. I've seen him on social media, and I know that he plays for the Leopards. I didn't know how good he was, and this guy can definitely ball. Like there's no doubt that this guy can play. So he was getting buckets. Houston Push was extremely physical. That's one thing that I have learned in watching all of these games is that it's a physical game. It's not like the NBA, if you will, where we'll just let you go to the hole. It's physical. They're going to make sure that it's going to be a tough basket for you. These guys I believe they truly want to make a name for themselves. And they're exactly doing that. Leopards playing full court defense. That's what they do best. And that's what they've been doing throughout the Undiscovered League. Michael Lenore playing on both ends. Houston Push Jordan Allen with the stroke. When I say stroke, that means jumper. That means able to hit the three. That's what we used to call it. They probably don't call it that anymore. He had, just to give you, he had 19 on the night. He was a leading scorer for the Houston Push. Chase Winchester with the stroke, man. This guy can shoot. I love left-handed shooters, and this guy can definitely shoot. He had 20 on the night, and he was money. He was 5 for 9 from the three. Leopards struggling on defensive rebounds. I put that down in notes. That they looked like they were struggling, but I would say they were leading. They actually led the game in rebounds, but it just seemed like throughout a lot of the game, they were struggling to get rebounds. Now they in the rebound column, it was 59 to 64. So they actually led the game in rebounds. Shout out to my man Overton Claiborne talking with OC. He is a podcaster as well, talking with OC on Anchor. Also, my man is a Ravens fan. Shout out to you. Also, Daryl Owens, Legacy Sports Network. He's tuning in. He gave a thumbs up on Facebook. Thank you for that. Man, that guy's doing this thing as well. I got a lot of respect for a lot of guys in this podcast game and really doing their thing. Lewisville Leopards were up 33 to 29. Jetpack J with a clean dunk. Javelin Hedgeman with a huge jam off to counter. This was a nice back and forth type game. Hedgeman was 17 on the night. The refs I thought were getting a little lenient on the calls, and I'm gonna say on both ends, but obviously I'm paying close attention to the Leopards, and I think there were some calls that were missed. Push keeps leaving Chase Winchester open. And I was just saying to myself, stop leaving this guy open. Now, it's good because I want to see the Leopards win, but I'm just thinking if I'm the Houston Push coach, I'm thinking like, hey, you got to stop leaving this guy open. All he's doing is hitting jumpers. So at some point, you're gonna have to cover this guy. And Chase was having, one heck of a day. Aziz Fadika with some solid minutes. I like this guy's play. I really do. He is physical. He's able to go to the hole, and he is a player that is definitely needed for this team coming off the bench, or even if he's starting. Rustin Hayward getting buckets for the Houston Push. At halftime, it was 61-54. The Leopards were up. So at halftime, they were up by 6, going in the right direction. Push coming out strong in the second. Rustin Hayward hits a big three, a good back and forth in the third. At the end of the third, it was 80-78. So it was a 2-point game. And then in the fourth, that's the money quarter. When you play basketball, or if you ever watched the 3-point contest, the fourth quarter That's the money round. That's the money ball. If you miss all of your money balls, more than likely you're going to lose. If you lose in the fourth quarter, normally you're going to lose a game. Leopards were struggling on rebounding, like I mentioned, but they actually led the game in rebounds. But it just seemed like there was at some points that they were not able to get the rebounds when needed. Push going on a run. Leopards were turning over the ball too much. The Push were up by 10 in the fourth with 8 minutes left. This is when you start. You have to do. You gotta figure out how are you going to come back. How are you going to win this game? Michael Lenoir getting to the hole. I said you can't settle for jumpers, and that's one thing I appreciate about Michael Lenoir. He was getting to the hole. You can't at this point in the game, especially when you're down. You can't settle for jumpers, especially fadeaway jumpers. Tyree Crump with a big three. Tyree Crump was doing his thing on the day. He had 12 points. Hedgeman with a big three as well. It was too little too late for the Leopards. Jetpack Jake fouls out, and the Leopards battled but not victorious. They end up losing the first game of the season, 112 to 105 to the Houston Push. Once again, like I said, owned by none other than Steve Francis. He was in the building as well. Shout out to my man Courtney Harden, also host of The Real Deal with Courtney Harden, a part of BS3 Radio. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate that. All right, so once again, if you're not aware what I am talking about, I'm talking about the Lewisville Leopards, a part of the TBL, which is the Basketball League. If you want to get more information about the Lewisville Leopards, go to creatingyoungminds.org. If you want to learn more about the TBL as a basketball league, you go to the Basketball League .net. Now, I'm going to put that up here on the screen here in just a minute. But man, it is real basketball. So you may think, oh, how does it compare to other leagues? How does it compare to the NBA? How does it compare to, the CBA? This league has some CBA roots, and I was definitely impressed. No doubt, I was definitely impressed. So the website's down below, thebasketballleague.net. Also, creatingyoungminds.org is the website where you can find information about the Lewisville Leopards. Also follow on social media, Creating Young Minds. You'll be able to find everything that you need to know about this organization. creatingyoungminds.org. I'm going to put that website down there as well, just so that you have access to see both. So there you go. All right, so let's get into game 2. This was against the Waco Royals, and this was on the 11th, so this was yesterday, or whenever you're tuning in, it was on April the 11th. Waco scores first. It was Lyle Hexum. Lyle Hexman had a good day. He dropped 28 on the day. Courtney said, I watched TBL when I was in Philly. Great competition. Yes, it is. Hexum, I put down Hexum as a baller. Like I said, he had 28 physical, getting to the hole. He had, it was 3 for 9 from the 3, 12 for 27 field goals. So he was definitely doing his thing. Michael Lenoir showing off his NBA speed. That was notated and said by commentator Jesse Williams. And, when it comes down to it, Michael Lenoir is a true point guard. One of those guys that'll dish it out, one of those guys that is physical, ready to go to the hole, ready to back up and shoot a jumper. Let me give a shout out to my parents, and in particular, today is my father's birthday, April the 12th. He is 62. Happy birthday to my dad. Was just got off the phone with him before I jumped on. the show, and he gave a thumbs up on Facebook, so I want to definitely give him a shout out. As we keep going along, the Leopards, great job at outlet passes. That's one thing that I think they focus heavily on, outlet passes, playing defense, and I think all around physical team. Brandon McElvey with a 3 in the first. That was a great confidence booster, I believe, for him. George Brock hits a big shot before the half. 36-26, Leopards up in the first. Brandon McElvey, like I said, he had a 3. George Brock was at a big day. He dropped 30 on the day. That is what you called a good night right there. He was definitely doing his thing. And this was the better out of the two games, I'll say, because this one was closer, and it was definitely a tough test for Lewisville Leopards. 36-26, Leopards up in the first. Jared Henderson with a bucket, a steal, and then a dunk. Aziz Fadiga playing physical again. Michael Allure with a nice dime to Jared Henderson. Hexum getting buckets again. Chase Winchester was on fire. So just like he had a good game on Saturday, he duplicated that on Sunday, led the team in scoring with 26, had 3 threes, 9 for 22 from the field, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, 5 for 5 from the free throw line. Sharpshooter. It was 62-54. Lewisville up at halftime. So you're seeing a little bit of a trend here, which I think definitely can be changed. But they were up at the half in the last game. So I think it's just a matter of second half basketball, particularly the fourth quarter, where the struggles sometimes come. So 62-54, Leopards are up at halftime. Breon Brady with a bucket early in the third. Waco comes out firing in the third quarter. Lewisville Leopards, good ball movement, but not finishing. Waco takes the lead in the third, 70-68. George Brock hitting threes, like I mentioned. He was the leading scorer for the game as a whole, dropping 30 in the game. Aziz and Chase working well together. I'm definitely a fan of Aziz Fadiga. Definitely a fan of Chase Winchester. I think both of these guys are star players on this team, that they're truly going to make a difference going forward throughout the season. Going into the fourth, 96-88, Waco was up. Leopards leading up to the fourth quarter, which again was a trend from the last game. So I think the fourth quarter is where they need to dial in. And I think they will definitely do that. Leopards, can they come back? That was my question. Pulling close, down by 6. Lyle Hexman playing on both ends again. Leopards getting some buckets. Breon Brady hitting buckets in the fourth. Balsa Bolshevik, big shot. They were down by 4. Balsa had a decent day, 13 points, 3 for 8 from the 3. Him and Chase Winchester both had 3 threes. Brady hitting buckets. I mentioned that already. Within 2 points, Jetpack J with a nice play. It was 109-107. Jared Henderson at 21 on the day. Man, Jared is one of these guys that I'm impressed about every single game. He had 21 and 11. 21 points, 11 rebounds. He's a rebound machine. As well as Aziz Fadiga, he had 16 rebounds on the day, and Austin had 11 rebounds on the day. Doing this thing. Lyle Hexum, 28 and 17. Breon Brady, 19 and 10. And George Brock almost had a triple double somewhat. 30 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds. But these guys playing physical basketball. So within 2 points late, 109-107. It was a close game. It was 111-110. Waco was up. At the end of the game, Lewisville Leopards were not successful. They end up losing 117 to 114. Waco wins in a close one. So I'm looking forward to the next set of games coming up. And April the 23rd, April the 17th. So coming up this Saturday, they will be playing at the Midtown Prestige. That's in Wichita, Kansas. And then on the 18th, they'll be playing at the Enid Outlaws. I believe that's in Enid, Oklahoma. And so very much looking forward to those games. And I think these guys will get their issues resolved. We won't have any Undiscovered League next week. Undiscovered League will be at home games, a pregame to the TBL game. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, or whenever you're tuning into this. If you are on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, click that bell. Also, donate and support BS3 Radio on Cash App, $ BS3 Radio. Thank you for those tuning in on Facebook, on Twitter, also on YouTube. I will be back next week with another recap of the Lewisville Leopards in the TBL with the 2 games coming up. And in about 15 minutes, stay right here. If you're on YouTube, come right back. If you're on Facebook, stay right here. We will get into our review of Concrete Cowboy, movie starring Idris Elba and Caleb McCullum. Caleb McCullum from Stranger Things, if that's a hit show on Netflix. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to Kingston Cole, Taryn Rodriguez, AD. That's my family right there, over in Claiborne, and Courtney Harden. Also, the thumbs up from my parents and Daryl Owens. So have a great night. God bless. God is love. Peace.